The Mayor and City Council welcome you to the Peoria City Council meeting. As a courtesy to others, please silence all phones. If you would like to address an issue that is on the agenda, or if you would like to speak to the Council regarding a non-agenda item, please complete a speaker request form which can be found in the front lobby of the Peoria City Council chambers or in the tray to the left of the speaker's podium. Please place the completed speaker request form in the second tray to the left of the speaker's podium, labeled Request to Speak. All speakers will have 3 minutes to complete their comments. A countdown clock is easily visible on the left side of the wall behind the City Council dais. Only items listed on the agenda may be addressed by the Council. Since items presented as part of the speaker request have not been listed on the agenda, and due to the requirements of the open meeting laws, the Council will be unable to respond to items presented as part of the speaker's request. However, please be aware that your comments will be noted. The speaker's name will be called to speak at the appropriate time in the order that the forms were received. Thank you for your interest and participation in the Peoria City Council meeting.
Welcome. Moment of quiet reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Youth Liaison Camacho. Clerk will please call the roll.
Mayor Carlett.
Here.
Vice Mayor Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Binsbacher.
Here.
Councilmember Patena.
Here.
Councilmember Finn.
Here.
Councilmember Hunt.
Here.
Councilmember Leone.
Here.
Council Liaison Bowden.
Here.
And Council Liaison Camacho.
Here.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Peoria City Council meeting of November 17th, 2015. The first item on our agenda is a presentation honoring former Mayor Ron Travers. Mayor Ron Travers, if you will kindly meet me over at the podium, I would appreciate it. And our city manager and city attorney, I would appreciate you too. Thank you. I am going to read a bio, and I'm glad that so many of you are present and all the people that are watching on TV. I want you to listen closely. This is a gentleman who has done so much for our city. I'm really proud to recognize him this evening. The City of Peoria is taking this opportunity to express its appreciation for our first at-large elected mayor. Before becoming mayor in May of 1985, Ron Travers served on the board of the Peoria Municipal Development Authority. As a member of the Board of Municipal Development Authority, he was an important force in bringing baseball to the Greenway Fields, inspiring the eventual creation of our two-team spring training ballpark, now a successful community asset with our partners, the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres. When Ron Travers became mayor, the City of Peoria was working its way through the transition from a small town to a thriving West Valley city. Mayor Travers was an important part of this transition, including his establishment of the city's in-house legal department, the implementation of the Dial-A-Ride program, and the creation and dedication of both the municipal complex, where you are standing right now, and Fire Station number 3. As a result of his leadership, the 6 council districts, which still govern our political system, were established. Becoming a charter city was a critical step in our growth as a viable, independent entity in Arizona. In addition to that, Mayor Travers successfully focused the city on its water resources, providing the preliminary leadership necessary to move this important initiative forward and secure our water future. Mayor Travers was also pivotal in the development of an arts program via the establishment of the Peoria Arts Commission and the creation of a municipal arts fund. Given these accomplishments, the city is proud to honor Mayor Ron Travers as an important part of the history of the city of Peoria. I hope you will join me in recognizing Mayor Ron Travers.
I'm his son, so. You know that.
Thank you very much. In my previous life, my late wife used to criticize me for not introducing her at the meetings and stuff that she was at. So I'd like to take a minute to introduce my family here. On your right, my son Ron, who lives across the street now, and his girlfriend Cherry, and my sister, big sister back there in the middle, Betty, Lisa, and my wife Jenny, and my daughter-in-law Irma. That's it. Thank you. I'll just take a minute to tell you that I'm really grateful for what you do, and keep up the good work, because I don't read anything about you in the papers. Carolyn, she's taking pictures. So good luck, best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of your work. Thank you. Okay, I am going to make a slight change in the agenda this evening and ask for a call to the public right now instead of at the end. And I'm going to start with former mayor, because you can never have enough mayors in the building, former Mayor Bob Barrett. Please come down, and I guess you don't need to state your name for the record.
Thank you. I would just like to add a comment about Mayor Travers. I was a reporter with the Republic in 1985 when he first became mayor. He's probably the first green mayor to ever come along, because he used to ride his bicycle over to the council meetings.
Across the street.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm not here for Mayor Travers. I'm here for Christmas for the Troops. Christmas for the Troops is something that's near and dear to my heart. And for years now, the city of Peoria has been extremely cooperative in getting material that we send to the troops who are stationed in the Near East, Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, everywhere over there. We are closing it out now on the 20th, which is Friday. So we need donations, as many donations as you can get. We started late, for which I apologize. We had some personal problems. But all right, now the locations are at the Rio Vista Community Center, both city libraries, City Hall, Development and Community Service Building, Public Safety Administrative Building, Fire and Police Stations, and the Municipal Ops Building. No glass items or containers, please. And the items must fit into a 12 by 12 by 6 box. Now, speaking as a veteran, I was in Vietnam for a year. I can't begin to express how important it is to get packages like this from home. It means the world to you. And what we're looking for here is everything that they can use and they really need. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, body lotion, toothpaste, toothbrushes, shaving cream, feminine hygiene products. Don't forget those. There's a lot of women over there now. Washcloths, baby wipes, and things like that. Eye drops, lip balm, sunscreen, wraparound sunglasses, white tube socks, black or tan uniform replacement socks, winter thermal underwear, which I never had a problem with, slipper socks, flashlights, multi-tools, jerky, trail mix, nuts, sunflower seeds, anything like that. They need it. They're alone out there, and sometimes you just feel like nobody cares anymore. Is this war or set of wars or whatever you want to call it, conflict, as it winds down, support has waned. Do you remember years ago, anytime a unit would rotate back from over there, if they were the National Guard or something, there's a big group to meet them at the airport? When did you see that last? So as these things go on, support wanes. Don't do that to these guys. That's my wish. For which I thank you for the time. And also, and this is a hint for the council, cash donations are needed to help defray postage costs, because we have to pay for the postage to send everything over there. So once again, the deadline is Friday. Please get your material. If you're going to do early Christmas shopping, pick something up for the troops. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I also have a request to speak from Gwen McMichaels.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Gwen McMichael, and I am the past president of the Peoria Sunset Lions. And I'm here to thank this council for 5 years for always supporting the troops. We always look for our veterans or our people serving from Arizona and try to get those from Peoria. This council and the employees of the city of Peoria have supported our every request for Christmas for the troops. So our boxes are still out. We're going to pack at the Challenger Center next week. Money can be sent to the post office box 326 Peoria 85380 at $16 a box. It costs a lot of money to send overseas. And the requests that we get are for peanut butter and the drink packets. That wasn't on our list. That's got something new. They want to flavor that awful water they're getting over there. So again, my point tonight is to thank the citizens and the councils of Peoria for always taking care of the Peoria Sunset Lions and our Christmas for the Troops. And there's other lions in Peoria. The Peoria Pioneers are also a strong supporter of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The first item on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda. Council, are there any items to be removed from consent? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. We'll now move on to new business, 18R, public hearing, annexation De Niro Plaza, Lake Pleasant Parkway, and Happy Valley Parkway.
The presentation will be made by Chris Hawkes, our Planning Community Development Director.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Item 18R is a public hearing on a proposed annexation of a small remnant parcel. State statute provides for an initial public hearing, which we have tonight. We can provide input and testimony, but no action can be taken at tonight's meeting. The remnant strip in question, so if we look at the graphic on the right, the nearest major arterial intersection, Lake Pleasant Parkway and Happy Valley. The remnant parcel is on what's known as the De Niro Professional Plaza. This is the professional plaza that's immediately west of, I guess, the Sprouts at Lake Pleasant Town Center. Phase 1 is the professional plaza. Phase 2 is the vacant 5 acres. We're working with the property owner right now on a site plan for a professional office building on that site. The remnant piece in question, this was excess right-of-way that was part of Happy Valley Parkway, along with the De Niro Plaza Phase 2, and it was deeded back to the property owner. So as we were working with the property owner, the developer, on the Phase 2 of the De Niro Plaza, it was noticed that that when it was deeded back, that this small remnant parcel was not part of that legal description. It's still in the county. It's roughly 20 feet wide by 82 feet long, so about 1,646 square feet. So it would just be absorbed within the development. So this graphic is intended to identify the annexation process. Again, as I mentioned, tonight is the initial public hearing. After tonight's hearing, we then have up to a year to collect the signatures, and dealing with one property owner, that shouldn't take a long period of time, and then the next action would be to bring back a annexation ordinance back to the council. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions? All right. I declare this public hearing open. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to address this issue? All right, seeing none, I declare this public hearing closed. Council, any discussion at all? All right, this is a public hearing only. There is no action to be taken this evening, so we will be moving on. The next item is 19R, confirmation of deputy city manager appointment. Mr. Swenson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Carlett. I'm very pleased to bring a confirmation to you this evening of Julie Ayers to be our new deputy city manager, and the council, of course, is very familiar with Julie in her role as human resources director. And this is a restored position that was cut during the downturn, and something that we really need back in the administration. I was very pleased that Julie was interested in this promotion. So a little bit about Julie. You know some of this because you work closely with her, but some of it you may not know. Julie began working with us as the Human Resources Director in 2012, and in that role she has led our successful labor relations task force that brought recommendations to you for improvements in our collective bargaining process. She's modernized our human resources function, improved our health insurance trust process and performance. She has created and re-energized our wellness program in the city. She has led our important diversity committee in the city and is currently stepping out of the HR role a little bit to lead the mid-decennial census, a community-wide process, and we appreciate her leadership in that process. Prior to coming to the city, Julie was the county administrator in Yavapai County, where she oversaw the administrative functions of the county workforce of 1,600 employees, and she had that position for 5 years. Prior to that, she was Human Resources and Risk Management Director for Yavapai County for 7 years, and prior to that, she worked in the private sector in the hospitality industry in both Arizona and Colorado. She has an extensive education appropriate to the position. She has a bachelor's degree from Arizona State University, a master's degree in public administration from Grand Canyon University, a certificate of public management from Arizona State University, and has also attended and completed the program for senior executives in state and local government at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University, and she is a credentialed city-county manager, receiving her credential in 2013. So I'm very pleased to present her to the council for your confirmation.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions? Do we have a motion on item 19R?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. Congratulations. Okay. The next item pertains to the Vistancia Community Facilities District, and we will be acting as that board. The agenda consists of 3 consent items: disposition of absence, minutes from the August 26th meeting, and September 30th quarterly investment report. Board, are there any items to be removed from consent? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is call to the public for non-agenda items, and I think we've covered that already in the beginning of the meeting. unless there's anyone else in the audience who would like to speak. All right, seeing none, we will move on to reports from City Manager. Mr. Swenson.
Thank you, Mayor Carlett. And the first report is a presentation by Public Works and Utilities Director Bill Mattingly, and it's in the area of cellular antenna in the city. Bill?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm pleased to be here this evening to give you this brief report and informational item. What I'm going to talk about are what they call small cellular sites. So this is a change in the evolving technology of cellular technology, and it's to support these devices that we all have, these smartphones and other wireless devices that we all become very accustomed to. So I want to kind of outline what these are and how the city plans on managing these new antennas. So I'll talk about what they are and why they're needed, who operates these facilities, what the Federal Communications Commission regulations tell us we need to do with respect to these, and then how do we, as the City of Peoria, plan to manage these licenses. So this is what it's not. These are the large cellular antennas that we see around town and around the valley. These are generally on a dedicated site, a lease site. We have a couple in the city of Peoria, one at our sports complex and one at one of our fire stations, and they generally take up a ground space of about 2,000 square feet. They often include a support building, so there's a substantial structure on the ground, and then they are very tall structures. This is what small cellular antennas are. They are mounted on city infrastructure. So they mount them on traffic signals, they mount them on street lights, and they are located in the city right-of-way. So they're not on leased parcels, they're in the public right-of-way. They have a generally small footprint. As you can see here, you have a street light with the antenna array that's near the top, and they're not as obtrusive as the large ones. So why are they needed? Again, they expand coverage. They complement those larger antennas that we saw in the prior picture, which we call the macro sites. These are microsites. They support the 4G and LTE functions of our smartphones and other wireless devices. And why do we need them? For the new applications, for the video, and just all of the things that we use with smartphones for. And again, they are growing the capability for mobile users. So who uses these? Who will be installing these? Verizon, Mobility, Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T are some of the larger companies that will be coming to us for these licenses. So let me talk a little bit about what the FCC says about regulating cellular technology. The regulations from the FCC preserve our local zoning authority, and they allow us to license and permit them locally. But they must be permitted in a fair, consistent, and timely manner. In other words, we don't really have a choice not to allow these in our rights of way, but we do need to create a process that allows for them to be in our right of way in an orderly fashion and properly screened to our requirements. So how are we going to do this? I see other cities have done this in a little different fashion, but the way we've approached this is to create a master license agreement. We would do this for each carrier. For example, Verizon, we would create a master agreement that covers all of the facilities they propose to install. Verizon, for example, might install 40 of these throughout the city. So there are a lot of these that you're going to see over time. So we would do a master agreement, and then they would come to for a permit, and it'd be an administrative process after council has approved a master license. They would come for a permit for individual sites. So they would apply, they'd go to the engineering counter, they'd say, here's some locations we'd like you to consider. We would go out and look at those and say, yes, we agree those are appropriate sites. In our situation, we would only allow them on street lights. We would not allow them on traffic signals. That's really from a functionality. When I get a traffic signal knocked down, I need to restore that as quickly as possible. With a street light, I have a little more liberty, so I'm very concerned about getting a traffic signal quickly restored as opposed to a street light, which might take a little bit longer. They have a licensing fee for each site, about $3,500 per site per year. There's an inflation factor of 3% on those as we get into the actual fee structure. And the licensing fee and process is similar to what I've seen in Glendale, Scottsdale, Mesa, and Chandler. In fact, the fee structure is virtually the same. We've borrowed them from Scottsdale and increased them just incrementally. So again, we would have a uniform fee that would be the same for all carriers, whether it's Verizon, whether it's T-Mobile, et cetera. Council would approve the ordinance for the fee, which would be a separate ordinance. We could bring that to council as early as December 15, and that would be global to all these different agreements. Then we would do individual licensing agreements with each of the carriers. Verizon may be the first and again on December 15. And then again, the individual sites would be approved through an administrative process, which would look at the appropriate for each individual locations. Perhaps if we deem appropriate, we may ask them to go hold public meetings, because if they're close to neighborhoods, we'd want to make sure that the neighborhoods are aware of them. And ultimately, they'd have to comply with any screening requirements that we might have. And that's it.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? I have one question. Is there just one carrier per light pole, or do they group together as they have in the past?
Mayor, generally, when you're dealing with these antenna sites, they ask and allow for co-location. In the case of these smaller sites, you may get more than one antenna on a pole. That's going to pretty well fill up that pole. I can see no more than 2 carriers. But what is more important is there is some ground equipment. You know, there are equipment that could be the size of, say, a small refrigerator that's in the right-of-way. And if you have 2 different carriers, you're going to have duplication of that equipment. So I think it's more impactful on the ground in the right-of-way than it would be on the antenna itself. So I think it's self-limiting to some extent with these sites.
Okay. And we have the ability to help them self-limit, right?
Well, we can ask them to go to the next light pole or go to another location that's appropriate.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The next item on my report is an informational item, and that is that we're very pleased for the 6th consecutive year to receive the Certificate of Excellence in Performance Measurement, Performance Management from the International City Management Association. And they have changed it up to be a little bit of a different descriptor, and it's performance analytics now, but you all know it as performance measurement and management, which is one of the cornerstones of how we effectively manage our resource allocation and service delivery in the city. So we're very pleased when we receive this award. We're one of only 32 cities in the country, and the only other cities in Arizona to receive this recognition are Phoenix, Mesa, and Scottsdale. So we're very pleased that yet again we have received that, and I would like to particularly credit Katie Gregory for her leadership in the organization and in the region with respect to this important subject area. The next area I'd like to present is a brief overview of the upcoming Park Fest from John Sefton, hesitating there as he is, but no manager's report would be complete without a report from Community Services on the upcoming events. John?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Swenson, and yes, you caught me with the word brief. I had to reconsider myself there for a moment. But yes, Community Services, Neighborhood Resources, and Public Safety are indeed excited to engage again in one of our world-famous Park Fest events this Saturday, November 21st, from 5:30 to 8:30 at Country Meadows Park. Country Meadows Park is at 11098 West Butler Road, tucked right into the neighborhood. And this is where actually Councilmember Leone held the very first event. Wasn't even called Park Fest yet. And it was one of those true inspirational opportunities for us where neighborhood came together, got a chance to engage the city and all the different services that we provide. And we're back again this Saturday per Councilmember Leone. He chose the movie tonight, or for Saturday night. Freebirds will be shown. It's a great family event. We'll have lots of fun. Painting, face painting, live music, games, inflatables, free food while supplies last. And again, that's this Saturday, November 21st, 5:30 to 8:30 at Country Meadows Park. I'm sure we'll see you all there. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, John. And next, I'm very pleased to bring John Imig up to make some presentations on our recognition for Public Technology Institute Awards. And John, of course, is our Information Technology Director.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I have with me Tim Smothers, who's our Applications and Geospatial Systems Manager, or Applications and GIS Manager for short. I'm going to introduce tonight some awards that we have received from the Public Technology Institute. PTI was established in 1971. They're headquartered in Alexandria, Virginia, and they really advocate and resource for leaders, in their own words, who have a passion for furtherance and wise development of technology, specifically in the public sector. Every year, they hold a Solutions Awards competition where they recognize local governments and demonstrating how they use technology to solve specific problems, improve community services and internal operations, and reduce costs. So I'm going to briefly outline our 3 submittals that we put forward this year. The first of which is called the Excella Citizen Access Enhancements. Excella is the system that we use for our permitting, electronic document review, and other planning and zoning applications within multiple departments. In March of 2015, we went live with the implementation of Excella Citizen Access to include the electronic document review and online permit submittals, which are going to align with City Council strategic goals and objectives. This effort extended the city's capability of providing our citizens and constituents a greater ability to leverage our e-government tools to submit and review application submittals as well as plan review documents. This was a multi-department initiative. It was headed up by the IT department in cooperation with the Development Engineering Department. We had several staff members who were involved with this initiative, and we're very pleased to say that it was highly successful. The second submittal was headed up by the GIS group. This is called the Graffiti Incident Mapping Project. This was done in cooperation with the police department. This really created a spatial database to understand incidents involving graffiti. What happened was we needed to initiate a migration from an existing graffiti log, which was in an older spreadsheet format, to really become a spatial database, a geographic derived database, providing both mapping and spatial analytics. It's really in order to understand the relationship of graffiti to our local geography and then allow potential prosecution or reimbursement through violation enforcement of known graffiti offenders. There are really 3 components to this, one of which is the graffiti collector, which is really the ability to collect field data on graffiti. This is done through the Community Services Department as part of their graffiti abatement process. They collect the data in the field through mobile devices, send it over to the police department, who then updates it with case information, the monikers being the signature, as you were, of the graffiti people, as well as the dates and any comments that happen. Then what happens out of it is they develop a hotspot database out of that, where they're really able to identify geographically where those hotspots are within the city for graffiti activity and be able to take action on that. 2 of those staff members are here tonight, Stephen Weprich, GIS technician, and Alan English, who's our GIS coordinator. And they were, as well as, I'd like to recognize, I don't believe they're here tonight, Investigator Bill White and Sergeant Seth Bigelow from the police department. They had a huge part to play in actually putting together this process and working with our GIS crew to make it happen. The third submittal is what we call our business-centric GIS Intranet Viewer. 2 years ago, you, the members of the council, gave us funding through the budget process to expand our GIS capabilities through an enterprise agreement with Esri. What that's allowed us to do is several new functions, one of which you'll see on your screens in front of you is the ability to give staff and elected officials the ability to look through multiple types of data in GIS. Many things as far as being able to look at spatial data for our city facilities, and then drill down into those. You'll see on your screens in front of you the ability to look at multiple layers and then really drill into those layers to get detailed information about elements, utilities, stormwater, anything we in the city need to do to facilitate doing business. This was huge. The other ability that this initiative gave us, you'll see in front of you the Homeowners Association interactive map that's on our public website. Having the enterprise agreement with Esri allows us to put GIS information out on the public web for the public to able to take advantage of. Planning and Community Development uses this heavily for their services as far as identifying homeowners associations throughout the city. So this really all ties together in our ability to provide more spatial information to our citizens and staff in the city. So with that, I'll go over the results of the submittals. We fall into category B, which is 100,000 to essentially 350,000 in population. And out of our 3 submittals, in the public safety technology category, we were a winner for the graffiti incident mapping project, which was a huge accomplishment. In the web management and e-government category, we were a winner in the Excella citizen access enhancements in the electronic plan review pilot project. And then in the geospatial or GIS category, we were recognized for significant achievement in our business-centric GIS internet viewer. So we came away with 3 awards out of the 3 that we submitted, which couldn't ask for any more on that. So I placed the awards on the table directly behind the audience here. So that is all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Great. Questions?
Very good. Thank
All
you,
right.
John.
Congratulations. Woo-hoo.
And the last item I have is just the council meeting calendar for next calendar year, which will be before you for approval the first meeting of the year. And that's all.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to reports from City Council. Youth Council Liaison Bowden.
Thank you, Mayor. I was able to attend the National League of Cities Conference in Nashville, Tennessee last week, and that was a really great opportunity for me and the 2 other youth delegates from Peoria. We were very excited to represent our city, and we enjoyed workshops, educational seminars on local government, and we got a lot of ideas from other youth councils from around the country about how they expand their role, growth, and certain events that they do in their cities that we're hoping to discuss in our youth advisory board and bring to Peoria to benefit the youth here. And that's all. Thank you for that opportunity.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Councilmember Binsbacher.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to Julie Ayers. I look forward to working with you in your new capacity. Also, congratulations to IT. After having had an opportunity to tour that department, what you do, what you manage to service our city and keep us all protected is just beyond comprehension, and those awards are very, very impressive. I'd like to touch on some community activity in the Mesquite District. Late October, Terramar Homeowners Association welcomed us to one of their community meetings, and I want to thank that community for doing that and spending a lot of time with me after that meeting, sharing their needs and concerns in their district, as have many other HOA communities that have been very open to having me there, and I'm very grateful to the Mesquite District and all of those associations, because getting all of that information really does help me to better serve my district and the constituents in the district. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity, and we continue to try to touch all of those different areas and learn as much as we can about their respective communities. Also had an opportunity to go out and visit our most desired, without a doubt, Community Park number 3 site. And that is just such an amazing opportunity for Peoria, overall and what that brings to our city and servicing our citizens, particularly in the north and the Mesquite District, all generations. And I'm going to continue to work closely with staff and monitor the progress and be part of those discussions and share that with the constituents in the Mesquite District every chance I get, because it's just a huge opportunity for Peoria to do this in an amazing way and bring a lot of amenities to the northern part of our city. On the 15th of November, we had the Four Peak Challenge, which was in the Mesquite District, and that's again just a representation of another great collaboration between community and city, and it really showcased Peoria's commitment to open space and the amazing trails that we have, and it brought people from all the different communities in the district and gave them an opportunity to experience the trails in their different communities. And it was great, and I really see that it's sold out in its first year, and Community Services did a great job, and I really see that event growing and expanding in the northern part of our city as well. On the 12th of November, I attended the Old Town Community Garden that Councilmember Hunt invited us all to. And I have to say that I was just so impressed with that. I'm not going to steal your thunder on that, but I will say that I just am so impressed and proud of your effort in bringing that to life and bringing in so many different elements of our city to make that happen, particularly with the youth, and then to support my passion for Blooming Healthy Relationships, which is a very important educational program to encourage healthy relationships amongst high school students. It was just fantastic. And then also, I want to say that, terrorism, continues to rear its ugly head, and certainly that's happened recently, and I continue to pray for the victims and the cities and communities that are trying to rebuild in some very horrific circumstances. So I have to ask myself every day, and I think our council members probably do the same thing, what can we do to honor those folks? And I think the best thing we can do is to continue to live in the most positive, productive way and look at how we can contribute to building a strong city and an amazing quality of life, and particularly do what we do with the youth in our city, because when you look into their faces, whether it's the student councils, our council liaisons, that's our future. That's my motivation. I think all of council and our mayor and staff is committed to that, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that. There's a lot to be grateful for, our armed forces, our police and fire, for keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Patena.
Thank you, Mayor. On the day before Veterans Day, the mayor and the vice mayor and I had the opportunity to go to a veterans dinner that was hosted in Westbrook Village. It gave us an opportunity to recognize veterans from World War II all the way to Afghanistan. And it seemed like this year we focused on the Vietnam veterans and were able to welcome them home properly this time around. And it was a good event. It was interesting to hear some of the stories of the World War II veterans. We had a man that was there that was on the beaches of Normandy. We had a man that marched in the March on Bataan. So some of the stories they told were very, very humbling. Also attended the Best of the West Awards. The city of Peoria, typically when I go to these types of events, we always win something. And that's always a great thing. This time we were at least mentioned on 2 separate occasions for an honorable mention. It's always good to get your name up front as a city, and I was very proud of our staff for at least being recognized for honorable mention. Again, along with the mayor, vice mayor, Councilmember Leone, and myself, we went to the state trailer building that is the old Walmart, and it sure is amazing to see the work and the tenant improvements that they did in that building. It's quite amazing. It's nice to see that old Walmart finally, get fixed up and the parking lot resurfaced, and it's a beautiful building. They sell thousands of items in that building, and if you haven't had a chance to go over there yet, take a walk over and see what they have to offer. I would also like to acknowledge Joe Manning. Joe is the Vice President of the Firefighters Association and recently stepped down from that position. Joe is responsible for negotiating contracts between the firefighters and the city. And he always made sure that the firefighters earned a fair wage, and he made Peoria an employer of choice. So I'd like to thank Joe for his professionalism and commitment to the firefighters as well as to the city of Peoria. Congratulations to Julie Ayers. I read your bio very carefully, Julie, that Carl prepared. It's quite interesting, and you have prepared yourself well to fill this position, and I'm sure that you will be a wonderful asset to the city, so congratulations to you. And last, congratulations to John Imig and the entire IT team for your awards as well. Nice work. That's all I have.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Edwards?
Thank you, Mayor. Over the course of the last month and a half, I've had the honor of continuing my efforts to meet with high school students within the Peoria School District, and it was my honor this last month to go to Kellis with Councilman Leone last week, and last month to Peoria High School with Councilman Hunt. The enthusiasm and the ideas that the youth of Peoria have is inspiring, and it just makes me so proud that we live in a city that gives a voice to the young generation. I have no doubt that we'll be leaving our city in great hands in the future if any of these leaders step up and take charge. On the night before Halloween, I was honored to be part of the Monster Bash, where we judged some very interesting costumes from little tiny infants all the way up to teenagers, and some of those costumes were very interesting. I want to thank the fire department and the police department for both passing out candy and being a presence and just walking around and interacting with all of the youngsters. It was very much appreciated. They were taking pictures with you guys. They were being able to get onto the fire truck and looking at all your equipment. It was just so wonderful to watch the expression on those kids' faces as you were passing out candy and letting them touch the equipment. I think that was very important for them to get that realization of what you guys do every day. So thank you very much. On the 5th of the month, I was honored to be part of the Light Horse Legacy Foundation event over at Rio Vista for the Take Me Home Huey. This was a wonderful opportunity. I talked to so many veterans that came out to view the Huey helicopter that is now part of a art exhibit that's going to be touring Arizona, and Peoria was selected as the first stop. It was such an honor, and I had so many veterans come up to us and talk about how grateful they were to the city of Peoria for putting this on. For some, it opened up old wounds, but for others, it gave a sense of closure. So they were very grateful, and I was grateful for the staff and for the mayor for hosting this event. And like Councilman Patena said, we attended the Veterans Dinner. I had the honor of having a 99-and-a-half-year-old woman who served in World War II as a nurse at my table. She still drives. She still plays golf twice a week. She had some incredible stories that were just so inspiring to the entire table. So I want to thank her for the attendance. And again, Julie, congratulations. You're going to make a great addition to the team. And lastly, I just want to wish everybody a safe holiday with the holiday season coming up next year or next week. Just be safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Finn?
Thank you. It seems like there's been a long time between council meetings. Everybody's got a bunch of stuff on their list. A few congratulations and thank you. Julie, congratulations. I'm sure you're going to do a fantastic job. Thank you to staff and Kiwanis organization for what they did at Kiwanis Park and the great turnout to move all of those wood chips that we had to put down there for the safety of the kids. You'd be amazed at how deep those things have to be in order to be compliant and safe. But it was a great turnout and great job by the staff. But the thing that really blew me away, I think, was the Neighborhood Pride event. It's the first time I had the honor to go and see that take place. I had never been able to experience that, and I was completely blown away. If you haven't been to one, just drive by. You don't even necessarily have to pick up a shovel if you don't want to on it, but when you see what's going on in those, you're going to want to in the next event. There were 500 people helping a neighborhood that they probably didn't even know the people before they ever got there to help them out, I think. And the one that will always stick in my mind was the mother in the front yard moving rock with a 9-month-old baby strapped to her back. It was just absolutely inspiring beyond words to see that effort from people for others that they probably did not even know before the event ever took place. So it was amazing. Congratulations to staff, everyone that came out. It was absolutely a phenomenal event, and it was somewhat changing for me to actually see people put in that type of effort. And then finally, I know that Bridget mentioned earlier the horrible events over in Paris. It seems so far away, but keep in mind that could happen here. And while we're running out, there are public safety running in. So thank you again for all that you do every day to keep us safe. And hopefully someday we'll live in a world where we don't have to worry about these things. So.
Thank you. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's been a very busy time. I missed last council meeting because I, like the high school kids, was privileged to represent the city of Peoria back in Nashville at the National League of Cities conference. And it's an amazing city, and they give you time to explore a little bit with some kind of directed tours so that you learn by seeing the things that they've done, whether it's gardens or graffiti or whatever it might be. And 2 areas that I brought back that I will certainly be working on and with staff. Aren't you glad when I always come back with ideas of work for you guys to do? One of the permeating features for me was the promoting youth activities and things for kids to do, whether it's creation of jobs that they can have, places for them to hang out in a healthy environment, just providing opportunities for them to be the creative individuals that they are. And arts and culture, that's always been a huge interest of mine, a huge passion of mine. And I attended several conferences on several seminars promoting how we do that. And speaking of culture, boy, are things happening in our downtown, my goodness. I guess the biggest event was our community garden. We had a garden party last Thursday evening. We had it in the evening with twinkly lights. It looked kind of like a fairyland there. It was very, very beautiful. We had acoustical guitar background. We had youth singers from Theater Works who are performing in the Secret Garden right now, and what better connection there. I think what makes me the proudest of this whole endeavor is the word that's involved in the title, and that is community. And I want to really thank John Sefton and his whole crew, Eric, all of the folks there that have worked, because from day one we were all in accord that this would be a community activity, and that involved the people who are farming the plots, so to speak, those who came in to help build the raised beds, the people who have come in to help, such as lots of kids. We made sure that we involved lots of youth in this, so we have a children's bed, and that the Peoria Preschool, Presbyterian Preschool, they did some carrot planting there. I can't wait to see the baby carrots that'll be coming up there, because they sort of did a hole and dumped the whole package in, so they're very crowded trying to grow. And then the Peoria High School FBLA students are meeting over there with those children and reading them books about gardens and plants and so on. So that's really nice. And then we had police explorers who were there every step of the way in abundance with their blue shirts, and I already mentioned Peoria High School. We had several groups from there. Their building trades class built the fence, so if you drive around there, you'll see that was huge. That was a huge endeavor on their part. Team emphasis. And then for the mural that's on the shed, we had the Peoria Accelerated Art Club paint that, and you can see it very easily when you drive north on 83rd Avenue. It's a real addition to it, and they learned so much, and they had so much fun doing it. So all in all, it was just a real win-win for everybody, and it will be there in the community for a long time. State Trailer Sales has now opened. Unfortunately, I was in Nashville during that grand opening, so I didn't get to attend that, but I've met with Ray Holt many times and have actually seen that vast, it's not like a man cave, isn't it? Seriously, it's all this tools and everything. So go in there and just knock yourself out. And then we have our distillery, which is going to be called Fire Station 1, is in the old fire station, and that's going to be open. Well, they're going to be open, but not distributing alcohol, but they're going to be open for our holiday festival, I think serving something a lot kinder like hot chocolate. But you'll be able to go in and see the massive rebuild that they've done in there. Okay, today I attended a dinner, an APS dinner, and again was so pleased to find out the connection with the power plant out there, the nuclear power plant, and students, and how they take tours of students through. And I already talked to Chris about organizing that for our youth group to go out there and take a tour, because there are so many job opportunities that you don't have to have a college degree in engineering to work out there. They've got all kinds. You can be a nuclear welder, and that pays so much money. Of course, you can imagine how important it is if that welding thing slips. You've got a real problem there. And also, I do enjoy going with John to the school sites, and Peoria High School is near and dear to my heart, always will be, and I love going there and meeting with those kids. I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but thank you once again to everyone who took part from last March, the inception of the garden, through last Thursday night, and we're not done yet. We still have some finishing touches to put on, so drop by and see it. You're welcome to go in and have your lunch in there. Just don't eat it. Don't eat the veggies there. You have to bring your own lunch. But just come on in and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Leone.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to make mine short and sweet because we'll be here all night, and I know we all want to go home. I want to go see NCIS. On October the 24th, we have some new developments, housing developments, and this one's on 91st Avenue behind Fry's. And what we did there, we had an event. An event was, to have food and invite all the people that lived there. It wasn't completely filled. There's about 50 families living there, and there's about 160 homes. So we had an event there with the families and the kids, and they all enjoyed themselves. And the main thing is that get them to know who their council person is and who the state legislation is. And also, they can get together and get to know each other. Because you get people living next door to each other for 10 years and don't even know their first names. So I thought it was a good idea to have it, and we had it, and it turned out great. On the 29th, October, we had a Oak Fest annual luncheon down in the plaza where we have this every year. And I just want to congratulate the staff who put this on. They did a great job, and everybody got fed. And we had a lot of people there with costumes on, and they gave out prizes. So that's just something I just want to kind of mention that I've gone to. October the 30th, the Halloween bash was great. All these kids there was with all their costumes on, and their parents who made their costumes was real proud of them. The thing is, we had about 20, maybe, I'm sorry, about 10 to 15,000 people there. I guess maybe John might know the amount of people. But it was just great, and I was one of the judges, and I've been a judge ever since we started that. So it's just great, and I enjoy every bit of it, watching all these kids marching down the aisle with their costumes, and I'm sure the parents are proud of them. On November the 6th, we had that state trailer grand opening, and it was great. If you want to go in there and look around, they may have a lot of stuff that you want, and it was just a great event, and it's been a long time coming since they had that thing was closed up when Walmart had it. So I'm glad it's open, and I'm glad we get something in there. Also on November the 8th, I had a block watch meeting at Castle Rock, and again, it's good for the people to get to know each other and give us their problems, what's going on there. If there's any problems, we like to keep the police informed. Don't forget, November the 21st, Park Fest at Country Meadows. It's on Butler, 11098 Butler. And they're going to have free food, movies for the kids, games, and a lot more. The movie's going to be Free Birds, and I guess it's going to be all about birds, I assume. So it should be fun, and if you have a chance, come on down, because it's going to be just a great, great event. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America, and God bless the people in Paris. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Youth Council Liaison Camacho.
Thank you. Earlier this week, I and many of my classmates attended a meeting with Vice Mayor Edwards and Councilman Leone, where we were enabled to identify and brainstorm solutions for many problems facing the youth in Peoria. I'm excited to see the effects of this meeting, and I'm thankful to Vice Mayor Edwards and Councilman Leone for the wonderful opportunity that they gave us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to take a minute to thank some people. Peoria is truly blessed with citizens who get involved and care about our city and want to do something to help others. The Huey display that was here, that was initiated, really solely created by a Peoria resident named Dave Barron. He had this idea, he got the artist, he got the Huey from a boneyard, and not only did he restore it and get it painted into a work of art, but he brought the families and the individual crew members out here for the display on Veterans Day. And since it was the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, it was so appropriate, and it was really, really touching because those people had not seen each other since that Huey went down in Vietnam. So it was an incredible effort by Dave Barron, and I really want to thank him. I also want to say thank you to another Peoria citizen, Russ LaChance. He lives in Westbrook Village, and he took it upon himself 3 years ago to start a veterans event at Westbrook Village, and now they are sold out. They've gone to a bigger and bigger room each year, and now they are completely sold out. And it's just really a labor of love for Russ and his wife to put this event on every year, just to say thank you in the most heartfelt way to all the veterans. Also, Linda Shadman, she has pulmonary hypertension. This happens to be Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month, And so she went on TV. She was on Channel 12 Health Check. She did a segment to bring attention to this disease because it's often misdiagnosed, and she wanted others to not have to go through what she went through when she first was not able to breathe. And so, you know, it's not easy to go on television, and it takes somebody who's courageous and brave and who is doing it for the benefit of others. So thank you for doing that, Linda. And one more, Kyle Klepacki and his family moved to Peoria 10 years ago, and they opened up Arizona Broadway Theater. This is their 10-year anniversary, and they have worked very, very, very hard to make Arizona Broadway Theater the cultural amenity that it is today. And it is a great amenity for our city. So I'd like to thank Kyle and his family for all their efforts and sometimes struggles along the way. And I also want to thank you, Julie Ayers, and I want to be the first one, if I can, to call you Deputy City Manager Julie Ayers. Congratulations. And there being no further business, we are adjourned.